when you are doing independent stuff, have you noticed that the independent industry drives the more traditional porn industry? Like, are you guys noticing significant changes in? Okay, they had it done either on independent porn or maybe a cam girl or boy. Like, do they drive change into the industry where you guys are seeing positive changes? And if so, how?
Oh God, I want to be specific so bad, but I shouldn't.
Do it. Do it.
And this is like, I don't like, there's no negativity about any of this. Like, it's all positive. This is a good thing that happened. So there was no like fat lesbian. There was no BBW girl at all until I made Lesbian Curves in like 2014, 2015.
Yes.
That film made $14,000 that year, which
Oh my God.
is a lot of money.
Yeah.
For just astronomical amount of money for me to make in a year off of one title alone, just like, and then combined, like not even. So that's data. Like that tells me that people want to see authentic, they want to see real queer porn with plus size femmes or lesbians. I called it Lesbian Curves because it was catchy and easy, but I was talking about people of all genders and all sizes and this stuff, but marketing works. So, like that was data, right? So then I would just tell everybody that I met in the porn industry that Lesbian Curves is doing a really good job and it's winning awards and like getting nominated for things. And like, lo and behold, in the next couple of years, what do we see?
Oh, that's awesome.
All of this stuff. Now, okay, so I'll pick a favorite. My favorite one of all of the plus size porn that came after Lesbian Curves that I feel like I had something to do with that was Shape of Beauty on Adult Time. Bree Mills did such a great job with that series. And I feel like I was probably the last scene. I got to work with Angela White, who's like, was quite literally the current winner of the Performer of the Year award at the AVN Awards and XBiz. There's no other star bigger than Angela White when this happened. So to be able to actually do like a lesbian girl mainstream adult scene, like porn scene with this superstar, and have it like funded and distributed like in a mainstream type of way, really felt like the culmination of a lot of hard work that I did to make plus size queer porn stars more visible in the industry. And like, I know I didn't do it alone. Like when I talk about April and Carla, I'm like, those women were in front of me, that paving the way for all of this stuff to happen. So when my gay ass shows up on set, I have a good time. I'm paid, I'm fed, I'm well taken care of, you know, and it's just like such a community effort, of course. But like, if I could just see in front of me that path tumbling straight from nobody's making fat lesbian porn, I'm going to make it. Oh, now everyone's making it. It's only a good thing.
Absolutely. Yes.
And like, that's why we continue to push buttons, both Sinn and I, and a lot of people at Trouble Films. Like, so we're always trying to like push the barrier of like what the mainstream industry is gonna deem as like acceptable. Cause like, let's face it, sometimes they just don't understand.
That is too true. Yeah. And when you talk about pushing barriers, we talk a lot about like the positivity, but then there's also content that we don't want to necessarily shame, but we do need to kind of contrast it with. And that's content that includes rough sex, verbal, physical humiliation, and elements that might be seen as more of a negative way of addressing a vulnerable minority. And so what do you guys say about that or have to say about like the people that enjoy the content that might seem more like shaming versus celebrating?
Well, I bristle a little bit against that sort of like coming from that place, only because on the one hand, I can see why, if it's not viewed correctly, and so to speak, that it could be potentially harmful. But it's, and then it can also be that like I spend so much time having to like defend sex work and defend pornography that I feel like it doesn't even leave space to have these honest conversations about things, because it's just like it's always constantly under attack for so many different reasons. So there's that. But the main thing that I want to say for part of it, just like a piece of this, is that, when we do these things, like we are fully consenting to what's going on. And so if I know that I fully consent to a rough sex scene, the person I'm working with consents to a rough sex scene, they want to be fucked hard, they want their hair pulled, they say spit on my face. I have had girls where like I put my hand sort of like creeping on their chest and they grab my hand, put it on their throat and say, choke me, and I'm just like, what, should I do it? I don't know. But like now what's happening is we are having these conversations before the scene starts. I don't even want to say now. I mean, this has been going on for a long time, but it's like now it's these companies are hyper aware again, like ever since sort of the Me Too thing happened, where it's just like, we're going to film this conversation before we even start. So, okay, we start at the top of the head. Are you okay with hair pulling? Are you okay with face squeezing, face slapping, spitting? Okay, now we're going to move down the body. Tit squeezing. What are you in? Like, what's okay? What are your limits? How are we going to communicate this without necessarily having to stop the scene? And then we also have safe words on set. So it's like, if you need a scene to stop right now, we just know we can say red, and everyone's going to stop and say, is everything okay? Are you guys all right? But I think too, like, we don't want to erase the fact that there are women who enjoy rough sex, and sometimes I think these conversations can be so much about like the harm that this type of porn is doing, that we sort of start to think of all, let's just say, like all women, well, they're all dainty, delicate flowers. And then you get that like Madonna whore thing going on where like, your wife is like, please fuck me hard and slap my ass and call me a slut. And it's like, well, I can't do that with you. I can only do that with like the stripper I see at the strip club or something. With her, it's okay, but not with my wife,
Right.
And that just like totally takes away our agency and the type of pleasure that we might want. And that's just like one side of it. Of course, there is also the other side too. And especially when parents will not talk to their children about pornography. And I think that is like something really important that needs to happen now, because now you can't escape it. All young people are going to see this stuff. Under 18, they're looking at it. And like, it appears that there's not much we can do about this except to talk to your fucking shitty children. Like, like, I don't want to have to. It's not my job. It isn't. I want to make erotic media for adults to enjoy, and I shouldn't have to like censor what I'm making because children are looking at it and their parents aren't putting any of this stuff into context for them in a world in which they absolutely must.